Okay, hi everyone. Here is a video to say, some people say they get a digital SLR and think that it's going to make them help them make brilliant photos. And then they come back and say, oh, Dom, my photos are really dull and uninteresting. And one of the reasons is because they just haven't actually edited the photos. For example, here is a very simple shot I did of a house. It's just up a street, actually. It wasn't of anything particular at all. And Okay, so here's the shots I took of just a street. As you can see, I'm actually sitting in my car taking a photo like a paparazzi. And as you see, the photos are pretty dull. It's not that interesting a picture or anything. And generally, that's what somebody would take a picture of, and that would be the end of it. Some people would do an HDR photo, which what I've done comes out like this, and everyone thinks, oh, that's amazing, I wish I could get my photos to look like an HDR image. Or, why aren't my photos that as interesting as what an HDR shot is? Now that is a pretty cool shot, I would admit. Well, it's a rubbish shot, but it's a really cool effect that you get from using HDR software. The stuff I use is a thing called Photomatics. And what you've really got to do is shoot with RAW, do about 5 or 6 different exposures, but whenever you're doing any sort of HDR stuff, you do sometimes get artifacts that come up in the image. So for example, in this one, you can see the kind of blacks here have just kind of got really screwed up. Same with over on this tree over here, it's just become totally black. It hasn't worked out quite so well. But you don't need HDR software to be able to get cool shots. All you've got to do is learn how to edit your photos. So this is a video about telling you why and how you have to edit your photos. So this one is a very simple shot, and it looks really dull there, but that's because the sky is totally blown out. So we can bring the sky in by using either this little gradient tool or this brush. I'm going to use the brush just now. And I'm going to bring the exposure down by maybe down to there. Hold on, I'll bring this down to exposure. Down by 1.5, brightness down by a bit, contrast up a little, saturation up a bit, clarity up a bit as well. And now with a big brush, I shall just paint over the sky. Okay, so that's the sky instantly looking a lot more interesting. But now I want to kind of maybe brighten up the buildings. So create a new one, say brightness 1. And first of all, what I've got to do is click on new, so I get a new brush. And this one I'm going to go brightness, increase it by a little bit, increase exposure, bring it over the houses, brighten up the tree as well, makes that look nice and interesting. And the cool thing is, once I've painted over that, I can then add more stuff. I can add more saturation, which you can make it grey or you can make it really saturated. I think saturated looks pretty good there. Clarity up or down. Clarity is not the same as sharpness. What it does, clarity just works on bits where there's high contrast differences. It really just like enhances the blacks around high contrast areas. Down or up, I think kind of putting it halfway up would be good. Contrast, let's put it up just a little touch and give it a slightly more exposure. I think that's looking a lot better there already. So once I've done that to the 2 different parts of the photo, I'll then go into the overall image, like so all these bits here, and work on the photo again. So maybe temperature wise, I say we could bring it warmer, so it looks like a nicer, warmer day. This is actually done in October, so it's actually a little bit chilly. But yeah, let's take it up to about 6,500, so that's warmed up. Brightness up in total altogether? I don't think so. Maybe just keep that where it is. Vibrance, let's bring that up a little bit more, so that's giving the skies a lot more of an interesting colour. And clarity again, that just kind of gives it a bit more punch. The tone curves, that's really where you should work with rather than increasing your blacks and fill light or even just your contrast. I like that. And okay, that's okay. It's looking over processed just now. One thing I might want to take away is some of the blue. For example, if you see in this taxi, if I have blue, like this taxi's now got a really blue light to it. What we can do is just individually take down some of the colours. So I might just bring the blue down a little bit here. Let's take it down to about 50%, so it's a little bit better now. And the sky's still looking good up there, no problems there. And yeah, oh, we can change the camera profile that we're using. If we bring that into landscape, where's that? There. That's kind of given a lot more kind of warmth and brownness to the browns as well. That's probably a little bit too much. But anyway, if we look at that compared to the HDR shot, that's the HDR. That's that one. So what you'll see is there's a good bit of difference in the actual cloud detail, which you're getting. So there a lot more detail in the cloud compared to the non-HDR one. But there is still something there. But yeah, so that's my little tip, is if you're taking photos and you're complaining that they're not looking as interesting as what you were hoping they would, well, it's probably just because you're not editing the photos. So like if we look at what this shot was before and after, that's the before shot, and on the right, that is the after shot. So that's why, if you ask me, you should always, especially if you're shooting in RAW will always give you a fairly dull looking image. And if you want an image to look interesting, have a lot of punch to it, then you've got to do some form of editing on it. It doesn't need to be with this software which I'm using, which is Adobe Lightroom. It can be with GIMP, which is a free software. Even Picasa is a free Google software which can help you get some cool shots as well and do some cool things to your images. But yeah, if your photos are coming out a bit dull, edit them. That's all you need to do. You don't have to do HDR. You can make a shot look like it's HDR just by doing a little bit of editing. It's not that difficult. Okay, so I hope that helps. And if you've got any comments, leave them down below. Cheers. Bye-bye.